I have to share this with you guys. This is I'm using KubeVIP, and I was skeptical of it 2 years ago, and now I love it. So what is KubeVIP? KubeVIP takes care of the missing piece of on-prem Kubernetes that deals with one, a virtual IP so that you can have multiple nodes that all share the same entry point, the virtual IP, which I'll show you in a second. And two, it takes care of what MetalLB has traditionally done, which is it assigns an IP address, a virtual IP address, to any load balancer in your system automatically. So if you're familiar with Minikube, you probably know Minikube Service and Minikube Tunnel, where it kind of does the same thing, but not really, right? So KubeVIP does multiple things, but the thing that's so great about it is it does all of it at the ARP level or the BGP level, which is the low level in the networking, which is kind of where you want to do this kind of stuff. So in the past, people would use MetalLB and then they would use HA proxy and keep alive D and all that, and you can still do that, but they're not nearly as good. They're not nearly as cool as libvip. Now, KubeVIP actually has a very serious bug right now. Since 1.29 Kubernetes, for security reasons, Kubernetes broke out admin.conf and I'll show you all this into super-admin.conf, I think it is, and they took away all the permissions. So all of the instructions about how to get KubeVIP, there's a huge issue on it. That's a huge thread on the KubeVIP thing. There's also a huge issue on the KubeSpray, which is one of the places I learned about how to get around it. KubeSpray actually has a fix for this. It doesn't look like there's any intention from the KubeVIP creators to fix this anytime soon, based on their response on the issue. So, but the bottom line is that KubeVIP will not work at all until you do this fix. And I'm just going to summarize the fix. The fix is when you first set up the static pod for KubeVIP and you create the Kubernetes manifest for it, you need to add super-admin in one specific place that I'll show you, not both of them, and that will allow KubeVIP to work. The change to the manifest file will automatically be picked up by Kubelet, which will see the change and reload it, and then it will work. It will start to work and do what you expect. And then then you can actually doing the bootstrapping process, you can join your KubeVIP, you can join your kubelets and stuff using KubeADM. And then after you've done all of that, you need to go back in and change it back to admin.conf or whatever the other one was, and actually change it back, because it needs the information in that file to be correct, and that information got broken out into superadmin and admin by Kubernetes 1.29 and greater. I think we're at 131 now. So the moral of the story is, it is a pain, but it's worth it, because once you have it working, you get a virtual IP that you can then pass off. So I'm going to actually show you that. So I'm on a Mac right now, and I've got my, my super admin is been set to be my kubeconfig, so that I can do everything without having to authenticate it on in my cluster. And I'm going to show you the code that I used for installing KubeVIP. This is in my dot files, by the way, rwxrob/dot files. Yes, I could have done it with Ansible, could have done it with KubeSpray, whatever. I tend to just make scripts to help me remember things. So this script is available for you. You can go look at it and understand what it's doing. Again, this script is at rwxrob/dot, and it's under install Ubuntu, and you can go into there and find it. As you can see, this actually is wrong. I need to do a git pull on that. That's out of date, because I have a Bastion host for Linux and I changed it on there. I didn't update my stuff. Okay, so this is the one. All right. So I don't know if you saw, but the one before this didn't have services enabled. I didn't know if I wanted to do it or not, and then I tried it instead of MetalLB, and I'm like totally sold on it now. So So what are we doing here? So up here in this script, I'm setting I'm defining, I'm running on a 192.168 network. Don't judge me. I just fired it up fast. I only have 255 hosts in the range, which is kind of annoying. You can actually set up a CIDR range here. We'll see later that KubeVIP allows a CIDR global or a range global. Thankfully, because the CIDR global for this particular range, 201 to 254, is very odd. It's not at a block boundary. And so they do allow a range global. This is all in the documentation for KubeVIP if you want to read through it yourself. We'll get down here to this stuff a little bit later. So, but understanding this script is going to be the key to understanding how to set up KubeVIP. So here I'm grabbing the interface. I'm grabbing a default interface. Make absolutely sure that you set up the default interface. If you're working with VMs and you have a virtual bridge or something like that, that should not be a problem. But this is one way to grab that using JQ. I am going to make an entire video about the necessity of learning the syntax of JQ and YQ in 2024. I now believe that they are more important than SQL. If you are in operations or DevOps, if you're going to call yourself a YAML programmer, which is what people in that arena kind of are, then you really need to learn this. You can do transformations and all kinds of cool things. So it's worth learning it. And by the way, I'm going to make a whole series of videos about it because I know it, but not as well as I would like. I think it's more important to know JQ and YQ than SED or even regular expressions, actually. You need all that stuff. So install static pods. So here we go. So this is me grabbing the latest URL. This is a standard way to grab a latest URL using, this is actually wrong. This should probably be tag name. Yeah, they changed that at one point. Let me actually test that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make it into a function for the hell of it. Let's say, get, let's see, fetch latest version. Let's put that code in a different function because I want to just call that yeah, get latest version. And then we can just echo that. Echo version. And then here we can have version equals fetch latest version. It is a subshell, but it's kind of a faster subshell. Shell check gonna kill me on that. Shell check. Yeah, shell check's unhappy with a bunch of stuff in here, so I don't care. I'll come back and fix that later. This one is funny. This one, it wants me to do this. Yeah, this is actually, there's actually a better way to do this that I recently discovered, but I'm gonna leave that in there for now. The shell check not passing is driving me crazy. So, don't go to the version. Where's version? Oh, do I have another one? I declared version up here. I guess I don't need it. No, version. I just need VIP and interface. I also need range global. I mean, I like it when the major things are up at the top. So VIP version. I guess I could have fetched the version echo version. If I want to do that, I could pass it as a global after that. But nah, we'll actually pass it and capture it. That's easier. It's just cleaner. It's got problems. I don't lie. I'm not gonna lie. It does have problems, but this is not my preferred. Look, just all right. I'm getting distracted. There you go. Shell check passes. Anyway, so let's actually mess with this now. We can go down here and turn off these other things for now. And I can turn on, was it fetch latest version. And we're going to run that. Install KubeVIP. There we go. Line 9, it does not know. What's line 9? Okay, IPJ route. Oh, I'm not on a Linux machine. Yeah, why is that there? I should put this in a function too. No. I should put this in a function. Let's say get get default, get latest version, get latest version, get default interface, and then, I mean, hell, I could just, it's gonna print it right out. Yeah, that's it. And this one I actually also don't need to set version anymore. Yeah, I can just print it. It'll just print it right out. Yep. So much better. All right. So. Yeah, the tag name is the right one. That's why I did this. Yeah. Fetch. I'm going to fetch. Get lastest version. All right. Get latest version. There we go. So let's actually test our other thing. So get default interface. I should say like detect or a search or something. Got not found. Oh. Wait, what? Wait, what? Get default interface. Oh, IP's not on here because that's why I broke it out. Anyway, we're not on the Linux machine. So that's an Ubuntu only thing. I do need that though later. I'm gonna break. Okay, I'll put this on Bastion and we'll fix it. Okay. Wait, where do I need the interface? Here we go. So I need the interface. So version interface equals get default version. No, wait. Get default interface. Get latest version. Yes, that's what we want. The rest can stay. I don't need those in there anymore. All right, let's commit this, and I'll show you it on Bastion. Git commit dash factor KubeVIP stuff. I have disposable commits, and this is my doc file, so I don't care. Push. Let me get on Bastion really quick. Am I on Bastion here? Nope. Bastion. Let's go on to Bastion. CD install Ubuntu. Git pull. All right. Install. Actually, install KubeVIP. Yeah, I just want to check. I want to test my IP thing. So get default IP interface. I just have to test it really quick. Yay! All right, so that worked. So let's go back to talking about this script. So setting up VIP. VIP is it's a very cool thing that does stuff that is going to be way over your head. But what it does is it uses ARP and leader election to decide to answer the question about who is 192.168.1.200. So if you're running a Proxmox environment like I am, you have 3 control planes. You can't see them. It's kind of small, but I have 3 control planes here. And so anything that tries to talk to these Kubernetes components needs to just have a single point of access for the API and everything else. And that is why we want the virtual IP. So normally to get this, you'd have to buy like you use HA proxy, or you would buy a piece of hardware that would do it for you, or you do round robin DNS, which never works, right? Because if one of your control planes goes down, that means 1/3 of your queries will fail, all of your stuff in your cluster. So don't do that. Even though there's a lot of people who do that in production, including my team when I first got here. They're like, well, we just know that 1/3 are going to fail while we're working on that one control plane. We don't care. That's a bad idea, especially since KubeVIP exists. So this is an IP that gets allocated, that gets assigned, and used. And this is the range. So there's 2 functions here I've already talked about. There's the control plane endpoint, which is the IP, the virtual IP that actually gets distributed across all 3 control planes, depending on whether they're up or down. And then there, by the way, you have to have 2 up for it to work. This is something I was not expecting. I was expecting there was at least 1 up for it to actually answer correctly. But for some reason, KubeVIP, I confirmed this in testing, has to have at least 2 up. So, and there's extensive video of me testing that on my live stream. I don't know why that is, but that's the way it is. So if you only have 1 control plane up, KubeVIP will fail. It will say this IP doesn't exist, and everybody will get, your services is down, because it essentially says, no, your cluster is down. Your cluster is not stable enough to answer anything right now. So, but if you get 2 up, if you get at least two of those control planes up, it will say, yeah, I'm here, great, and it'll assume it's up. 3, of course, same thing. So what that means is if you're running with 3, some people in a really large on-prem environment will have like maybe even up to 5 control planes. And you always want odd, by the way. I don't know why. That's why I don't know why that's just with 2. It shouldn't. That's not to get leader election, but whatever. So, and then the second functionality is to like set up these IPs, these virtual IPs, to automatically assign to anything with a load balancer service. And that is the function that MetalLB has provided in the past. And the reason this is so much better is because if anything, if the thing that's running your load balancer service goes down, a new service will get started up, and a new load balancer entry point will be created automatically. MetalLB does not do that. So that is super cool. If there's no other reason to even consider this, that is the reason that high availability of your virtual IPs that are assigned to your load balance, it's not a full ingress, but it's that MetalLB part of it that you need. For a home lab like mine, I actually don't need much more of an ingress than that, because I can go, as long as that IP is consistent, I can go to that IP to do my testing and stuff. And if I wanted to assign a domain name to it, I could. I don't have to have all the other stuff. I don't have to have the other ingress stuff to go with it, because most of my services are going to have their own load balancer service, and I just need that to show up on my local network as an IP, a virtual IP address, and I can just go to it and use it for a sort of a home lab environment. There's lots of things that are not included in that conversation, but I'm not going to get pulled into an Istio rabbit hole about other things in Istio that are provided. I really love the fact that I can assign a single IP or a single thing to a specific service and have it look like it's its own server on my network. That is amazing. That's exactly the same as if I was running as a service, like a systemd service or something, which I really love. I really love it, because everything else is very OG. It's like, oh, hey, I've got a make docs here. I've got a cluster over here. I've got this application here. And I can just assign, if I want to, I can assign my own host IDs or domain name stuff externally that resolve to that IP address. And know that IP is never going to change, because that load balancer is going to get reassigned. And I'm pretty sure it gets reassigned the same IP. I'm pretty sure, but I haven't confirmed that. I might, if you know, put that in the comment. I'm pretty sure it always gets the same IP, but I could be dead wrong on that, honestly. Actually, I could be totally wrong on that. I could be totally wrong. Thank you for the follow. I don't know. That's actually something I got to find out now, because that would defeat the whole argument I just said. If the IP number is getting changed automatically to some other IP address, I have to figure that out. I'll report back. I'll do another video on that and find out for you. I want to believe that once an IP address has been assigned to a given load balancer service, that same IP is always going to be associated with that load balancer. But I don't know that, including if that service goes away and it gets reimaged, it's not going to reassign another IP. We want that IP to be consistent. But I absolutely don't know that. This is the first time I've ever used KubeVIP for this kind of thing. So I will find that out and report back. But again, for what I need, even if it did change the IP, I would just look up what it was. You can specify which public IP you're one to use when you create a new balancer service. Can you really? Which public IP to use? You can. Do you do that in the service or in the KubeVIP thing? So you can actually request anyway. If you know that, if you know about that, let me know. Um, so anyway, that's what this is doing. We're grabbing the latest version. This is here. Here's how you install static pod. Remember that dash services needs to be up if you want services. So I run this on the control plane 1 first, and this sets up a static pod, which, as a reminder, is a pod that runs and has a manifest file that lives only on the endpoint on the node. So this is not managed by Kubernetes. It's kind of hard. Static pods are kind of their own video. Static pods run on the node, and for that reason, people don't like them. The kubelet is a static pod. Everything else, you go on the thing, you go look at all your static pods. Understanding static pods is really essential. The main thing to take away from this is you have to be able to connect to the node and change the static pod information from, through SSH. You need to go over there and actually mess with this file outside of Kubernetes in order to change things. You can, I found out, turn off and start up. You can start off and you can make changes to the manifest and restart. All you have to do is make changes to the manifest and it will automatically be seen as a new thing. So that's really cool. And one of the changes you do need to make is actually called out here. Echo warning: if this is your first control plane change the last to admin.conf to superadmin.conf, otherwise it won't work. You can go, there's a link to the issue there. You can go read about why that doesn't work. And for a lot of people, this is the reason not use KubeVIP for this kind of thing, and they want to use HA proxy. That's up to you. I think it's still fine to do that. I was about to throw it away. If you watch the live stream, I was going off on how stupid KubeVIP is, but I've since kind of calmed down, and I'm okay with it. So that gets you your stuff, and then your join command, which I can kind of jump ahead here. The run kubeadm. So this is how I run my kubeadm. Oh wow, that is that's it. Yeah, this is my kubeadm. And control plane. Yeah, so control plane endpoint, pod slider. I actually think I'm probably going to remove that. I don't think that is correct. And then upload certs, I found out you need to have that if you want your certs to be pulled down. Otherwise, your workers won't be able to join. This is a new thing. I don't know when that started, but you have to have that. And then the certs are available for 2 hours before they're removed. And then you have to do upload certs again. It's a relatively new thing. But anyway, so yeah. Pinch the terminal. I don't know what that means. Make it bigger. You want me to make it bigger? I can. I can go like this. Is that what you want to? So you can see it bigger. Yeah, you guys are probably on phones or something. Let me go through and show you all this stuff again. All right, so here we go. We've got Cider Network 10.98 and then 192. So this is my kubeadm init. It's pretty basic. I do not use a config file. There's arguments to do it and there's arguments not to do it. So, but let's go back to the install kubeip to see. And then here's range.global. Okay, so I do not do Cilium. I'm not going to use Cilium. I'm not using Cilium anymore. I compared Cilium to Calico, and that's a separate video. I think Calico still destroys Cilium. There's no way I would ever use Cilium after having done a pretty exhaustive comparison of the two. That's a separate video. Suffice it to say, Calico has BGP, and all on Talos. I don't use Talos. I never will. I think it's a bad idea, even though I was featured on their homepage for saying how awesome it was. I think it's a horrible idea. I don't think anybody should use it. There, you got my answer on that. How the hell are you going to log into the system and set up static pods on Talos? Guess what? You can't. All right, so here's the static pod, or how are you going to manage your container engine? You can't. You have to trust the Talos creators to do everything the right way because you don't have SSH access to the nodes. I think it's a disastrously bad model based on reality. And there's a lot of people that significantly disagree that have a lot more experience than I do, but I would never ever do it knowing what I know now. So anyway, you can set up this interface, this address, control plane, the services here. And then leader election. So don't remember to go in and change your VIP, change it. So what does that look like? Let's actually go in and look at a control plane. SSH control, Kate's control 1. We'll go to Kate's control 1 dot local. It should be up. All right, so sudo vi etc Kubernetes a manifest. So there's the superadmin.conf. You see that there? There's admin.conf and there's superadmin.conf, and that's a relatively new thing, Kubernetes 1.29. And that actually broke KubeVIP when they did it. So, and you can read that thread that I listed if you want to know all the ways that it broke it, but it's easily fixed. If you're using KubeSpray, it's already fixed in KubeSpray. They resolved it. They've created their recipes to do the right thing. Next clusters after this will be all KubeSpray clusters from now on in my home lab because they're just so much easier to manage. And all right, so see this line here, this host path volume is set to admin. Now, when you first start this, you're going to get an error that'll say, basically, I don't have cert access. And how would you even see the error? You'd have to go to see the error at all. You'd have to do cd tail var log. You can't. You got to go here because there's no Kubernetes for this, right? You can't. I don't think you can even see. I don't think you can. Because it hasn't you haven't bootstrapped your cluster yet, so there's no way to check it. So you have to actually go look at the logs. For this thing, this is actually super annoying because you have to be root. So tail var log pods, and you go look for the kubectl. So all of this static. This is the only way to get any debugging information on a static pod at all, because this is where this stuff gets written. This is one of the reasons I was complaining about this originally. These are old errors. These are errors that are now gone. They're dated 10.8, 10. Yeah, these are like yesterday's errors when I was messing around. So, and you'll see these panic outputs. I was like really harsh on the KubeVIP project for dumping panics. It does kind of annoy me. However, once you do have a Kubernetes cluster, I'm pretty sure you can just describe the pod, which is what I did. Let me go do that here. So, describe pod -n cube system cube VIP. Is it VIP? Yeah, VIP 0. These are they only have the single numbers on them because they're static pods. They look like daemon sets, but they're not. You can actually deploy it as a daemon set, but then you don't get the virtual IP for bootstrapping because you have to have a cluster to use daemon set. So there. So there is, all the configuration of the pod. So you can actually, once you have a cluster up, so if you like debugging the load balancer functionality, you can kind of do that on here. So you can see here it has the path as admin, and it's using host path and the different mounts. Make sure you don't change the other mount point in the file, because you'll stop working if you do that. I did that and learned the hard way. So let me show you again. So vi etc Kubernetes manifests kube vip.yaml. I changed. I did a set. All right, no, I did a perl-py, and I changed this one to superadmin as well as this one, and it broke. So you only want to change this one to superadmin, and that will fix it enough to get you bootstrapped. But and by the way, you have to do that for all of the control planes when you bring them up. That's not specified in the issue. It actually says it's only for the first. It's actually for all of them. You need to do it once with superadmin to bootstrap, to get the control plane to join, and then it will have other issues. And so after that is done, you come back in here and you remove the super and save it, and then that will cause kubelet to reload it automatically. And at that point, you'll have a cluster up, so you should be able to do describe remotely if you want to see what's going on, rather than logging in and looking at the logs, which is a pain in the butt. So that will actually give you an error of something like that's going on that's not happy. So this, I feel like this has been kind of a long-winded explanation of KubeVIP. Hopefully I've said enough things to convince you to kind of give it a try and look at it. If you have any questions at all about it, please let me know. You can come into my chat. You can come into our Discord. And hey, look, and if you want to, you can also, you can go through those dot files. I very recently went through all of this with KubeVIP, so I'm making this video for myself as much as anybody else to remember what I did to get it to work. So super pleased with KubeVIP so far. I mean, obviously there's a bug there that needs to be fixed. But if you're a KubeSpray user, you're not even going to notice that. And if you're not, you can do the little trick that I mentioned to get around that. So I wanted to put that out there. Give KubeVIP a look, and let me know. Let me know how it goes for you.